Second coach, try to sit down. Thank you.
Oh. Yeah, I know, he's talking to me.
By the way, everybody you see on this railroad, everybody, the engineer, the conductors, myself, the people in the ticket office, we are all volunteers. None of us get paid. So we're here because we love doing this or we're a little bit deranged. Phil. Hey. You'll be down after.
Steam train.
Last time
Let me just remind everybody, as we said a minute ago, first off, you have brush your girls a little faster, then we can keep up with the track. Sometimes here in the backyard understands that. Because of that, you can keep heads, arms, weights, inside the window, outside. Through.
If you can log out the south side window, you'll see
go back, pick up a practicing arm or something. The other thing is, if we're going down the track and there's a triple-legged critter on the track, I have to stop quickly. I'm going to have to take these little bodies back
down in 2005, the county was quite upset because they lost an employer. They found a company called Guardian Industries. Guardians, they would be happy to take over the factory, but they needed rail service. Now they never had rail service. So the county had paid for a siding from our track leading into the factory. And a couple times a week, Norfolk Southern comes down our track to reach the siding and deliver freight cars full of sand and silica chemicals to the factory so they can make the fiberglass insulation. However, it is our track. They never deliver anything on Saturday or Sunday. But during the week, if we have a charter, we will call Norfolk Southern and say, we are using the track, you cannot use it, and it works out very well. They have a big gate at the end to make sure that they don't accidentally.
We're making a movie, Matthew. You're not watching it. We're making a movie of the precious little feet. See there?
We shortly will come to the siding, and you'll see it leading into the factory. This is all on the south side of the track. In return for this arrangement, we got the crossing gates and the flashing lights at Route 321, which was very helpful. We got a mile of our track.
Matthew's making this movie.
We got lots of
Seriously.
goodwill with
You're making a movie?
County and with Norfolk Southern, who has been a very, very cooperative partner and has worked out very,
Move it
very
up here so you can see it.
So this all occurred after 2005 when Guardian took over the factory. I've been trying. Do we have somebody coming through taking tickets? Not yet. By the way, if anybody is riding with us without a ticket, not a big deal. We don't get upset. We don't yell. We don't scream. We'll just go to the end of the line and ask you to get off so you can walk for 4 miles. Very easy. We don't charge for the ride out, we charge for the ride back. How's that? Speaking about charging, we thank you all for coming. We totally rely on ticket sales and donations to keep this railroad operating. The situation with the economy and with the government is such that it has really become impossible to get government grants any longer, whether federal, state, or local. So we thank you for riding. Anybody that is interested in donating, there are boxes back at the station, and we want anybody to throw some money into the box. If anybody is more interested in getting involved with us, we're always looking for more members. As a member, you get to ride any regular scheduled trains for free, not the steam train, but regular trains during the year. You get a newsletter, you get invited to meetings and to parties and things like that. So if anybody is interested in being more involved, please stop at the ticket office and get information about membership. Likewise, if you are involved with a church group or a social club or a school and would like to talk to us about arranging a charter, we'd be very, very happy to work something out. We run charters all the time, during the week or weekends, so just stop in and chat with the ticket office folks. They can give you some further information. So, in my quest to become more Southern, I am practicing my y'all, come on down, ride the train. It still sounds like a Brooklynite, sorry. But I have learned, I'm looking out the windows here and I see lots of trees, and I know that this is called the woods. So, I'm trying. I've also grown to really like grits and okra. The jury is still out on collards. I really have a problem with collards. My wife says, put hot sauce on them, they're great. They still taste like collards. Anyway, we're going to blow our whistle again shortly because we're crossing a dirt road. We'll hear the bell ring before the whistle blows. This is a dirt road that leads to a little hunting camp. The crossing is known as Hunter's Crossing, and there's a little hunting camp that we occasionally see some folks sitting around, and I guess they claim they're going hunting, but most of the hunting they're doing is hunting for a cold one and a cooler. But nonetheless, they say they're going hunting. So I was briefly talking about these coaches, and I forgot to mention the reason that there are so many coat hooks is because it's very cold in Montreal. So people would wear a heavy coat, get on, and take their coat off because the coaches were heated up in Montreal in Canada. The other thing that they've added was the double windows. So this was like storm windows, try to keep the heat in. We have 4 of them. We're only using 2 today, and they've really been very helpful for us. We own a dining car as well. The air conditioning system on that has died. That is our only real air conditioned car, and we need about $10,000 to redo the entire air conditioning and heating system. For those of you that have any interest in trains or a little knowledge, that sound extinguisher is very special. Something you don't hear much. Take a look out the windows, especially the south side. You'll see chimneys, brick or stone chimneys. That's all they are, just chimneys. We're coming out of the woods, we're coming out the fields. And for those of you young folks who don't know about sharecropping, this whole area was sharecropped. There were sharecroppers' cabins, which these chimneys were part of. The cabins are gone, just the chimneys remain. All of these fields were planted in cotton at one time. No longer. Now they plant grasses for hay. You can see the bales of hay, particularly on the north side. They did plant some corn and sunflowers. To use as animal feed. Occasionally we'll see some deer or wild turkeys in these fields, but I haven't seen anything today. Didn't see anything yesterday either. The turkeys have disappeared. They have a calendar. They know it's getting close to Thanksgiving. They make themselves scarce. We just passed a broken down cabin that is all that's left from that sharecropper's cabin, and we went past another one that has been restored. Essentially, the landowner would rent a family a piece of land with the cabin. The family would farm the land. In the fall, when they harvested the crop, they would give a share of the crop to the landowner as rent payment for that land and that cabin. And that's how the term sharecropper came about. They get a share of that crop. These cabins had no electricity. They had no running water. We're going to pass another one on the north side that has been restored, but it still has no electricity, no running water. You young folks, how would you like to live in a house with no toilets, no electricity, no television, no internet?
Actually, another change in there's group like Arsenal Hill. You know, downtown the bus stop.
So back 100 or so years ago, cutting, polishing, and shipping blocks of stone was a big business. And it continued until 1930 when the Great Depression really cut the demand for stone. So in order to stay in business, the quarries started crushing the stone to make gravel. Because there's still was a demand for gravel to be used for building highways, for concrete, railroad operations, things like that. So that became a big part of the business. So after the Depression, the stone business, the stone business continued.
How you all doing?
Thank you all.
You your engineer?
Yes, sir.
You got trains at home?
Many.
What you got?
The better stone
All kinds of stuff.
Taken out. It was harder and harder to get decent stone.
From the area?
Other quarries that were easier.
You came down to the Model Train Club?
So they shut the quarry.
You came to the Model Train Club down there?
No, never been there.
There's a bunch of guys down there playing Model Trains.
All right.
And in 1979, everything shut down.
I got it.
2 years later, the entire railroad was donated to the museum. The museum at the time was in Charleston. So all of a sudden, the museum was given 11.5 miles of track, and they brought their equipment up here and gradually were able to rebuild the railroad line. So we now have a full 5 miles of usable track. $2 million to rebuild the final 6.5 miles of track that we own but cannot use. So if anybody wrote a checkbook can write us a check, we appreciate it. On the north side, you can see a chain link fence that is surrounding the Fairfield County Airport. This is an airport, a general aviation airport. Only small planes are here. There is no scheduled service. Actually, when Mack Truck was here, They occasionally would have people fly in if they had to visit the factory. But generally, this airport is only small planes. We will come to a break in the trees, and you'll be able to see a couple of the hangars and perhaps some of the small planes.
That one over there.
If you miss something on the trip out, you'll see it on the trip back because we follow the same line and just return the same way that we came. We have no way to turn the train around. Unless, of course, everybody wants to get out and lift it up and turn it around. There's an idea. These coaches only weigh about 95 tons, so it's not too bad. You can tell we're rolling along at top speed, which is 10 miles an hour. This railroad is inspected by the Federal Railroad Administration. All the crew members that are operating the train, the brakeman, the conductor, the engineer, have all been certified. They have taken courses, they have passed exams, and they have official certification to do what they're doing. We actually had a federal inspector here this morning. Perhaps he's riding with us. Took a look at some of our operations, and I think we're in good shape. So that's a good thing. We do try to run a safe operation and keep everybody happy. So that's a good thing. Now we have cars here. People are taking film, movies, videos, photos. Lots of train people. If you take a look out the south side, you'll see a siding, another track. That track connects to the main track. And actually, coming up behind us, we're going to stop here because coming up behind us is another train. That is our fire train. It's a locomotive, a big tank car, and an open caboose with all sorts of hoses and nozzles and spray equipment. Because the steam locomotive has a tendency to throw up burning embers and sparks, we run the fire train behind us to make sure that if there are any brush fires, they can immediately put them out. So the fire train is going to come up, and I think he's going to park on this siding. No, I guess he's going to go past us. So we'll see what happens. I also want you to... folks in this coach can see it. The next coach, you may not be able to see it yet, but if you look out the south side window, you'll see a stone building. And we will go past that, so just sit tight if you cannot yet see it. But that building is the old Greenbrier School. It was built in 1940 as a public school, and it was used right up through 1973. It was first a white school, and then after integration, it was an integrated school. In 1973, it was replaced by newer buildings. It was then used as a Head Start program, a senior center, a couple other things. Eventually, it was abandoned. The roof started to cave in, and it was in pretty difficult shape. It was finally purchased by a private individual, a musician, who has fixed it up. He lives there and has a small factory in the building. He produces a very unique tuning peg for stringed instruments like violins and cellos. And he ships these all over the world. So it's a pretty cool operation. So the building was built in 1940. The wall around it was added in 1950. It is the local Winsboro blue granite, which is not blue, it's kind of a gray. It's very nice. And very nice guy. He's hoping to start having concerts in the building. After we pass the school, we will be going into a cut through the hill. It's called the Greenbrier Cut. And actually trains, like big trucks, really don't like to go up and down hills. They prefer to stay on a straight level as much as possible. So the railroad encountered this hill, and rather than going over it, it cut through it. And there are places back by the airport where there was a small valley, and in that place they built up an embankment out of rock and dirt so that the track stayed level and it didn't go down into the valley and even up the other side. And you see this on the interstates when you get to a very large uphill. They'll often have an extra lane for the trucks because the trucks are having such a tough time getting up the
You don't
steep
need a bell, Daddy.
Yes, we do need a belt.
What'd you say?
What'd you say?
What'd you say?
I don't know what you said. What'd you say?
You don't need a
It's
bell.
particularly important that we coordinate things very tightly.
You don't
Since
need
we're
a
running on a
bell.
single track line, you want to make sure that if you have two trains running, they stay a safe distance apart. So I guess we're waiting now for the fire train to come and go past us.